Hello, welcome to the non-dual lectionary for Ash Wednesday in Year A. And the Ash Wednesday reading is actually the same as for Year C. So I'll post the video for last year in the description. You can watch that if you'd like to. For this year, though, I just want to do a brief video about a couple things. One is kind of starting with the traditional Ash Wednesday phrase, right, from Genesis 3, chapter 3, verse 19. Remember that you are dust, or from dust you came, and to dust you shall return. One of those. And then also in a slight shift, like talk about the tradition of Lent, right? Not just the scripture itself, but the tradition. Father Richard Rohr talks about there kind of being a three-legged stool of experience, scripture, and tradition. And that actually lines up pretty well with kind of Buddha Dharma Sangha too. The notion of personal experience being very important, and but having to like check in and also be supported by both a community, which would in Rohr's concept would be the tradition, and also truth or wisdom or scripture. And I think we can consider scripture broadly. It doesn't just have to be the Bible. But in any event, Lent starts with Ash Wednesday, and so if you're practicing Christian and go to church and things like that, the kind of the kickoff for Lent is you hear, remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return. And, from a non-dual perspective, like from that kind of viewpoint, what a beautiful little lesson. And I talked about that last year, in last year's video, but what a beautiful little lesson, right? Of like, hey, if you think you are identified with this small self, man, you're going, right? And not that the small self is nothing either, right? It's just dust. Uh, And so that's like the introduction to Lent, right? Is this kind of like clear, right at you message of like, hey, and then what do we do with that, right? The tradition of Lent is usually some sort of, there's fasting or some kind of practices, right? Let's talk about it that way. Fasting is often one of them. Some kind of giving up something, right? Is very traditional in the Catholic community, no meat on Fridays, like that kind of thing, right? Maybe additional praying. But the commonality in all of that, again, is actually some kind of practice that isn't just turned inward, but is also, I mean, a little bit ascetic, right? A little bit of like, hey, I'm going to deny something that I, as a small self, my body, my psychological self, whatever, would want, right? And that too is like a cool little thing, right? I mean, not just to use it as like any religious thing, it can become just a thing you do, right? Oh, I got to pick something or pick something. Oh, we don't meet on Fridays, whatever. But if we kind of sit back with it, oh, what's going on here, right? It's a subtle but regular reminder of, hey, there's more than just this. And not more in the sense of like there's something else to find out there, right? That's like, ooh, this, big, huge discovery, because that's not non-dual either, right? But like, hey, to the extent that you're identified with just what you want or with your habits or anything like that, like let's break that open a little bit and see what emerges. And so I wanted to talk about that in the in the heading into Lent, right? Of like that first message of kind of like, hey, if you are dust and dust you shall return. I mean, one message is to go, that's what the psychological self does, right? If it really confronts that, oh no. But what emerges behind that, right? And then also all the little practices along the way that kind of reinforce that, hey, what's coming here? And, one of my kind of favorite little keys of like the what we tell stories about outside is also what's happening inside, right? If we see Lent as like the idea that preparing for Jesus's resurrection, right? Well, we can also see it internally, right? As all these little practices that kind of till the soil for the risen Christ or Christ consciousness, right, to emerge within us. And what is Christ consciousness? Well, I mean, find out for yourself, right, on the experience part of the stool, but but also, I mean, uh, Christ consciousness is another name for enlightenment, or is another name for true nature, or is another name for, whatever words resonate with you that kind of, the waking up and then the living out of that experience, right? Of hey, what really is right now when I'm not identified with this small self of mine. So, happy Lent is kind of a weird thing to say. I wouldn't, like it's not necessarily happy Lent, but at the same time, like, hey, welcome to Lent, right? I mean, Lent is always, but uh, it's kind of cool that even through the religious trappings and even through the tradition, we get these like the stuff bubbles up, right? That's like these little practices and these little times that kind of lead us back to um, again, like kind of getting the field ready or getting the soil ready for what truly is to emerge clearly within us. So welcome.